I realize that many of you have been using APA for many years, but for those of you who are new to it, I want to make sure everyone understands how to use the resources provided to you. In the syllabus, it suggested that you may want to purchase the APA manual. If you would like to do that, we're currently in the 7th edition of the manual. You can purchase the manual direct from the American Psychological Association or Amazon or pretty much any bookstore. For the purpose of this class, you should be just fine using the free resources provided to you. The first of those resources is Reporting Statistics in APA. On this page, you'll see examples of how to report any of the analyses that you may be doing in this class in APA format. The second resource is the Purdue OWL. The Purdue OWL is a wonderful resource for all the different citation styles. For APA, it even starts with how do you format a paper in APA? What do your section headers look like? How do you format a title page? What does the running heading look like? Let's take a look at some of the basic examples. Many of you will find yourselves citing books in APA. Let's look at that basic book format in APA. You start with the author's last name, comma, their initials, followed with periods, an open set of parentheses, the year in which the book was published, close parentheses, period, the title of the book. Now, something very special I'll point out here is that titles in APA, and this is explained in detail on the website, when you're talking about a title of a book or a journal article or a website, you only capitalize the first word after a colon, or proper nouns. Everything else is lowercase sentence style. Then, after a period following the title, you include the location of the place the book was published and the name of the publisher itself, followed by a period. Let's try an actual example. Many of you will be citing journal articles in this class, so let's look at a journal article. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that there are two different types of pagination for journal articles. First, there's pagination by volume, and second, there's pagination by issue. What that means is, if it's paginated by volume, that every volume starts on page 1, and page 1 does not appear again until the next volume. Pagination by issue means that the journal starts on page 1 for every new issue. You figure out whether or not a journal does this by looking at the different issues to see if they start on page 1 over and over again. So let's look at an example of a journal article. Now, if you've been at A&T for a while, here are a couple names that probably sound pretty familiar to you. So how do we cite this? Well, first, we start with the authors. We go in the order that's listed on the manuscript, so we're going to start with Dr. Gaitan. After his initial, we're going to put a period, then a comma, an ampersand, and then the next author. The second author includes her middle initial, so we're going to use both her first and middle initial in the citation. Then, in parentheses, we'll need the year the article was published, followed by a period. Next, we'll need the title, and as I said before, use sentence case capitalization. So I'm only going to capitalize effect. Then, in italics, we're going to need the name of the journal right here. That will be followed by a comma, the italicized volume number, volume 21. But wait, I don't actually know if I need to put a comma there, or if I need to have an issue number, because I haven't yet determined if the pagination is by issue or by volume. So how do I do that? Well, I'm just going to go to the journal's homepage, and I'm going to see what the current issue is, which looks like 2019 issue 4. And what page does the editorial start on? Well, the editorial for issue 4 starts on page 229. That means this journal uses pagination by volume. If you use pagination by issue, then the editorial would have started on page 1 for issue 4. So without being familiar with this journal, that's how I know that I don't need to include the issue. After that volume, we're going to include the page range, which I find here under the author's names. And then I include the DOI. It doesn't need to be hyperlinked, so I'll take that out. And now the last touch. Notice that there's a hanging indent on all of these citations, no matter the type. So I'm going to add my hanging citation to my reference. APA includes a lot of small details, but they're really not complicated. If you get stuck or confused at any point in the semester, just let me know, and I'll be happy to help.